Well, recently I went over 100 episodes on finding traction, and I've had a few people say, like, where's the big deal? Like, where's the big party or the celebration or doing something, special to mark the occasion? So nothing came to mind. I couldn't find anybody real famous to join me. Travis Kelsey was busy, and Terry Crews didn't seem to respond to my my email messages. But you know what? This is what I thought I would do. I want to look back over the first 100 episodes, and I want to pull out a dozen that I think really had stuck with people. Some of the episodes that I got a lot of feedback about. And so we're going to do that today. We're going to look back. I'm going to pull out 10 to 12 episodes that if you haven't had a chance to listen to, I think could be real informative for you and interesting. So welcome aboard as we look back at the first 100.
Guys ready?
When it comes to porn, are you stuck, spinning out, or slipping backwards in your life? If so, then welcome to the Finding Traction podcast, a show dedicated to those who are looking to gain recovery momentum away from porn and toward the life and relationships they have always hoped for. Now, here's your host, Vern Tomke.
Well, as we get going on the fall of 2023, let me say that if you are looking to connect with somebody who can give you some hope around making some changes in your life around porn, I'd love to connect with you. And obviously, if you've been tracking with me over these podcasts, hopefully you've learned more about my story and kind of the way that I roll. But let me just say, if you're at all at a point where you're saying, you know what, I got to change things up. What I'm doing is not working. I'd love you to connect with me. Send me an email, bandofbrothers.care@gmail.com, and we can connect for a short Zoom meeting. I do coaching individual guys. We also put guys in groups. And you know what? It's just a chance to get together. Even if you decide, you know what, I'm not ready for a group yet. Maybe you want to take a look at some of the material, Finding Traction material. You can find out more information about that on the website, bandofbrothers.care. So let's talk a little bit more about the podcast Finding Traction. And I want to just point to a few episodes that, again, you might have been one of these really studious guys that have listened to all 100 plus episodes, or maybe you're brand new to the podcast. Somebody, might have recommended it or saying, hey, there's some stuff here that might give you some traction, no pun intended. And I want to point out just a few podcasts that, again, people have, said to me, hey, that one was super helpful, or, that one really made me think. So let me just start. The very, very first podcast, episode 1 and 2, were all around how porn engages us and meets us in different seasons of our life. And, many of us, had porn got embedded in our lives, or found porn getting embedded in our lives back when we were maybe 10, 11, 12, 13. But it doesn't end there. And porn has a way of presenting or meeting a need in a dysfunctional way, but meeting a need in different ways throughout different seasons of our life. And in those podcasts, I track through how porn looks in our 20s, what porn looks like in our 30s, 40s, our 50s, and even guys who are in their 60s and 70s. I've worked with guys who are in their 70s who are struggling with porn. I've worked with guys who are not even 20 years old yet. And porn presents itself, meets different needs, and different things in our life make us susceptible to porn. Some of the things that we need to do at different seasons of our life are different. So you might find that helpful for you. You can actually go on the website and you can download, you can sign up, and I'll send you, or you'll get directly a PDF which shows you each of the different ages in your life, some of the, ways that porn, interacts with us and how we can get free from it. So you can get more information about that on the website. So again, Porn Through the Ages, that is kind of the very first episodes that we did. One of my favorite podcasts, what I did was called Recovery Inspiration from a Hitman. That was episode 6. And one of my all-time favorite fictional novelist is Greg Hurwitz. I love, he's a reformed hitman, and his book series is called Orphan X. But in that book series, he makes so many great quotes that I thought had a great application to recovery. So I just took some of the quotes that I jotted down from that book series, Recovery Inspiration from a Hitman. That was one that I love to do, and that's episode number 6. Episode 23, Does Porn Make Me a Dick? This is all about the small, imperceptible ways that porn begins to change who we are. I read an interesting quote recently by C.S. Lewis that says, every single decision that we make subtly changes who we are and who we will become. Every decision that we make, every event. And I found that interesting. And in that episode 23, we really go through and talk about the subtle progressive changes that porn brings about in our lives, ones that are hard to see in real time. But looking back, we realize, oh my goodness, porn is subtly changing who I am. And so that is episode 23. Now, episode, I'm going to just put 26, 27, 28. I'll get into this idea. If I am changing as a person, I'm also going to change how I see the world around me and how I interact with people. And that introduces one of the favorite authors, a therapist that I read and listen to and interviewed in the last part of those 3 podcasts. His name is Andrew Bowman. And Andrew Bowman has coined these terms, a pornographic mindset and a pornographic style of relating. And he does a fascinating job of describing what porn does in terms of affecting the way we see the world around us. That would be a pornographic mindset. And then how it changes the way we interact with the people around us, how we view women, how we interact with women. And that, I think that's 27 of the 26, 27, 28. That one is all around what is a PSR, what is a pornographic style of relating. And in 28, an interview with Andrew, he actually gets into a little more detail. That for me has been probably the most challenging topic or concept in my recovery, is to look at how do I recalibrate my view around the world around me, the way I interact with women, the way I avoid women or engage with women or see women. In a recent podcast, I kind of talked about that as being what I called stage 3 of recovery, where we're really recalibrating our whole view of sexuality and relationships. So that all comes out of that 26, 27, and then the interview 28, where I interview Andrew Bowman. That is a concept which continually challenges me personally and one that I'm constantly thinking about. Getting into real practicalities, episode 37. In episode 37, we just talk about pre-commitments versus willpower. And that is where just one of the most practical tools that was ever taught to me was the power of pre-commitments. My son was over recently. He came over to watch a football game, and he saw this plastic box which had a bunch of remotes in it. He looked at me quizzically, and he's like, "What's that, Dad?" And I said to him, "Well," he says, "I just have that so that I can control the way my day goes. I have certain habits I want to do, certain habits I don't. And that pre-commitment just helps me be more effective in the day, and be more successful. I think that was good enough for him. He didn't really want to get into a whole porn conversation, but I think he saw the reading between the lines, and that is one of the most practical tools that I've ever used, and we talk more about that in episode 37. Episode 39 and 40 is where we get into what I call tool time for relationships, and one of the things as I start working with guys, many of the guys that I work with are there and want help because of friction in their relationship, tension in their relationship. Porn has come up, whether they've been discovered or it's been exposed, and not all is well with their marriage. Their wives are usually hurt or angry or maybe even reeling personally, and the question guys are asking me is, how do I get back on track? And one of the practical ways, and that episode 39 and 40 are actually around helping guys get back on track with their spouses. Because guys lose hope. They're going, have I screwed things up? Is there any hope of change for us to have a relationship? Because I've done so much damage to our relationship. What are some tools that I can, do with my wife? How can I help her? You could throw on that episode 61, which is also this idea of and this one I think is more for spouses, how to create an ally, not an adversary. So 39 and 40, and then you could throw in 61, are all about helping couples where porn has become a real problematic issue. How do they navigate through that? Is there any chance of there being a better relational future? And oftentimes guys are losing hope and they're going, man, this just sucks, mostly because of my actions. And is there any hope of me actually turning things around? So those episodes can be super helpful in terms of giving people some hope. Going back to another practical one, episode 48. Episode 48 was called Last Time, Next Time. And this is just a concept I return to over and over again in my individual coaching and in group coaching, where guys are, for example, reporting, relapses or things not going well. And I'm always asking them, okay, this is what's happened last time. And what are you going to do different so that next time isn't just a repeat of last time? That's just a super practical podcast. It's such a simple idea, but I'm just challenging guys. I think that one is one of my more in-your-face podcasts, because I'm saying to guys, you know what? If you're not prepared to do anything different, why would you get any different results? To quote organizational behavior, your system is perfectly designed for the results that you're getting. And so that was one that I continually return to. It's just a super practical one. Here's one. I talked with a guy recently. He had gone through all 52 weeks of the Finding Traction course in a group with me, and I got together with him. He was he sends me really nasty emails about the Cowboys. So, but I still am committed to him. One day he will see the light. But I put up with it, and I called him up, and we hadn't talked for about a year, and we were talking, and I said to him, we'll call him Bill. I said, Bill, what was, we were talking about, what was, one of those episodes that stood out to you? And the one that he said was an interesting one. It was episode 49, which was wife-sized sex. It's a great title just because of, oh my goodness, it's a great, catching title. But let me, the whole thing that he said was helpful for him was the role that porn had played by giving him a supercharged, outsized sexual drive and template, which made it so problematic in his real intimacy with his wife. And it really is a helpful thing for guys to realize, many of this over-sexed, turbocharged sexual landscape that I'm dealing with really is not normal. This is not a normal physiological drive. I'm constantly walking around with these chemicals being put into my body. It's like living on sexual steroids. So he found that helpful. So I want to throw that in as the eighth one that I think was there. So let's go back. Episode 1 was Porn Through the Ages. Episode 2, Recovery. Episode Inspiration from a Hitman. Episode the third one, episode 23, Does Porn Make Me a Dick? The fourth one, 26, 27, 28, around Andrew Bowman's pornographic mindset and pornographic style of relating. The fifth one, episode 37, Pre-Commitments. The sixth one was 39 and 40, which were all about giving couples tools around navigating through their relationship around porn and the problems porn has caused. The seventh one, episode 48, Last Time, Next Time. And the eighth one is episode 49, Wife Size Sex. All right, we've just got a few left. The ninth one was episode 68, where it's a bit of a Lord of the Rings ripoff, where we talk about one rule to rule them all. And that is just a very simple, practical tool for anybody who is starting out on recovery. There's a rule embedded in there that I think is probably the most practical rule that you need to follow for the first 60, 90 days of your recovery. So I won't tell you what it is. You have to go to it. That's episode 68. By the way, my wife and me notice we watch the news. I know sometimes we watch ABC News. They'll never tell you, they'll tell you about a news story, but they'll always bury the line. You won't believe it. It's almost, news has become so clickbait. You won't believe what they found, when they introduce the news. And we're just going, well, just tell us. Don't tell us that you're going to tell us something. Just tell us the news. So I guess I come by it honestly. So that was the whole area of the ninth one was one rule to rule them all. The 10th one is a term and a concept that I use. It's episode 73, where we get into stopwatch recovery. And it's using the concept. I even had somebody buy me and send me a mechanical stopwatch. It is using the stopwatch diagram to really help people understand their recovery cycle or their addiction cycle, why they act out, why they continually act out in the same ways, and then how to reverse engineer that, how to intervene so they simply don't keep going through the same set of behaviors over and over and over again. The 11th one is, I got to shout out to my buddy Matt Dobshoots. Episode 96, Is There Hope for Me? And just because we do so much stuff together, I had to put one in where it's kind of a joint one. And we really get into this topic about how do we maintain hope. This recovery journey it's a long haul. It's easy to lose hope. It's easy to lose steam. It's easy to get tired. And so I want to put one in there. You notice I'm not going to add any of our pro football ones because not everybody is a pro football fan. And already some of our predictions for the year are turning out to be not so accurate. But I will say that my comments about Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson were right on. So I was right on there. But the 11th one is Their Hope for Me podcast I did with Matt Dobshoots, number 96. And last but not least, the 12th podcast is Slot Machine Porn, episode 102. So that's a really recent one. And I have probably got more feedback around that one than any of the previous 20 to 30 podcasts, because guys are realizing, and over we are hearing from guys, and I'm hearing from guys, it is these insidious little algorithms with social media that's causing me to edge, that's priming me to act out, and it's happening over and over again. And this whole idea is really changing the way that guys are interacting with arousing material. It's different than it was 3, 4, 5 years ago. Then it was porn sites, which of course might be the end result of a porn binge. But now in 2023, it's this whole new scenario where guys are grooming themselves on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, whatever those things are, TikTok. That is the even Facebook, scrolling through Facebook streaming videos. All of that is the new, the new way that people are having problems. And so we really address that in helping guys. So there you go. 12 different, well, some of them are even more than 12, because I'll throw 2 or 3 together. But maybe if you haven't been tracking with us from the beginning, and a huge shout out to you if you have been, I'd love it if you would just put a quick rate the podcast, maybe leave a comment. One of the ways that it's just helpful is getting the word out about the podcast. So if you're with us from the beginning, thank you. I've heard such great feedback from people. But maybe if you haven't, or 1 or 2 of those topics, you say, I didn't hear that topic, that podcast. I want to go back and listen to it. Hopefully that will be just enough of a good trigger for you to go back and check it out. All right. So have a great rest of your day. And thanks for listening to the podcast. And we'll see you next time.